And I will open up the conversation to members of the audience, so I'm sure we'll get a chance to talk to both the minister as well as NERC a little bit more about this. But I want to come back to the manufacturers of meters. We've talked about the fact that there are issues of cost, there are issues of financing. What can you do as manufacturers to help the industry generally? Is there anything you can do?
It's a very good question, Kadura. So one of the things I say is that I now no longer just wear a hat of a meter manufacturer. I now wear a lending/financing hat as well, as an MD of a meter manufacturing company, because in order to be taken seriously and to actually engage the discos about 2 years ago, that was a requirement, right? Not just for the discos alone, but just primarily for the sector as a whole, right? And so we had to, as a company, as Mojek, and I know the same is true for my colleagues, that we had to all start to think aggressively as to how we could not just compete in the space, but also compete with international competition that was also playing within our space in Nigeria. So where we had foreign companies who were bringing in financing from their governments, right, single-digit financing, and offering the discos that, hey, I'll give you 100,000 meters. You don't have to pay for the next 2 years, and then after that you can start paying. I mean, that's a sweet deal. If I were the MD, I would take that. And what I had to think about was critically, how could I, outcompete these foreign players? And we, as a company, approached the likes of BOI and some other DFIs. We used a combination of our own earnings, right, as well as some lending money. Now, that program could not work if you were an importer, for example, and you were trying to go to a commercial bank. Because at the commercial banks, we're talking double digits at 20-something%. It would be completely impossible to even try to compete in that way or to be able to roll out meters to the discos. So we as a company, again, what we've done is that we are working with quite a few discos at the moment. We're actually providing some financing for them. But there's room for improvement, because I would like to actually use this audience to beseech the government to actually take this very seriously, because we're asking specifically at either at the CBN level or at the DFI level that a special fund or a special financing program mechanism be provided, right, or be created rather.
The government is broke. How realistic is that?
Excellent question. So that makes me wonder. So again, can the end user then again finance if he or she is willing to actually provide or pay for these meters?
Mr. Balogun, from your perspective, again, that same question. I mean, what are the sort of innovative things that you can do as a manufacturer to help deal with some of these challenges?
Yeah, thank you very much. You see, the CAPME is a laudable scheme that we shouldn't allow to die, because it happens to be the last hope of a victim of estimated billing. But however, there is still a lot to be done in terms of engagement of all the stakeholders, in terms of designing the best way to implement it. For instance, when a customer pays for meters under CAPME scheme, and the customers are not ready in terms of the clusterness of the wiring in his house, and you get the meter to his premises, it's not fit, it's not meterable. So we need the sector needs to come out with a clear dimension, framework of pre-inspection of a consumer premises to be meterable. However, in terms of we manufacturer, we have the capacities are there to roll out, and we equally need to have uniformity in terms of the type of meter we want to engage ourselves in the sector, so that Port Harcourt will not request for one type of meter, Abuja will request for another type of meter. Period to
so again, you're talking standardization.
Yes,
and I'm trying to get a sense from this panel, who would be responsible for standardization in this sector? Who would be responsible for enforcing? Is it all NERC?
Yeah.
And right, okay. So, so please tell us who you are. Maybe talk to us a little bit about what you're doing around standardization, because I think it keeps coming up again and again.
My name is Engineer Peter Eweso, the Managing Director, CEO of NEMSA, and Chief Electrical Inspector of the Federation. Our functions are to ensure standardization in the industry, enforcement of technical standards and regulation, inspection, testing, and certification of all electrical materials, including meters and metering equipment, to ensure that they meet the required accuracy, so that, because the issue of metering we are talking today is not just the customers alone that are victims, the suppliers too can be victims.
It sounds like you're not doing your job, because everybody is saying there are no standards, more or less.
Yeah, of course, there are standards. We have the Nigerian metering code, which define how meters should be produced, how meters should be tested, how meters should be deployed.
So then I'm confused, because what I've heard from members of this panel is that part of the reason why you cannot use the program where people, or why it was stopped, was that there were issues around the sort of meters, how they are installed and all of that. But you are saying you are enforcing. Yes, so please, let the Honorable Minister clarify for us. Yes, sir.